Okay, hello ladies and gentlemen. My name is Humaira Jahanzeb and I am the team lead for the Living Indus program and the National Adaptation Plan for Pakistan. It's an honor to be here and on behalf of the Ministry of Climate Change and the United Nations system in Pakistan, I take the opportunity to thank all the key partners who've organized this. Great big thanks to Nafeez Zakria Saab from ComSats, who's talked about all the pertinent points related to permaculture, within the wider Indus framework. And today's presentation that I'm going to do is about securing the Indus. The river Indus, is one of the most vital natural resources that Pakistan has. And the Living Indus Initiative and the National Adaptation Plan are two key frameworks that the Ministry of Climate Change and Environmental Coordination, the government of Pakistan, have to address the triple planetary crisis of biodiversity, climate change, and pollution. So we are all aware, at least most of us should be aware, that Pakistan ranks amongst the top 10 most impacted countries by climate change. And what that really means is that we are facing sporadic rainfalls, we're having, floods, we're facing droughts, we're having a very unpredictable rainfall patterns. And we know that, Pakistan is dependent on two key hydrological systems. One is the monsoon and the other are the glacial melts. Both of these hydrological systems used to be predictable in the past, but over the years, this predictability has come down. So we cannot use the statistics of the past to determine what the future is going to hold. And we see that happening in the recent floods that we had of 2022. We saw all the devastation and the loss and damage. And what this really means for Pakistan, the issue of climate change is actually a water issue when we talk about Pakistan. And when we speak of water, we talk about the Indus Basin. Now we are aware that 90% of Pakistan's people and more than 3/4 of its economy resides within the Indus Basin. 80% of Pakistan's arable lands are watered by the river Indus. And 9 out of our 10 largest cities are found within 50 kilometers or less of the waters of the Indus. So the Indus is really the backbone of our civilization. We are because of the Indus. Pakistan is today what it is because of the Indus. And so this is just a depiction of how the Indus River bed is so dry in the year 2022 in May. And after 1 month in August, we had the devastating floods in which we had a lot of damage in Sindh and Balochistan province. So really for us, a question to think about is that this resource that we have has supported us for the last 5,000 years. But given its current state of degradation, is it really in a position to support us even for the next 100 years? That's the question for us to think about. This is the kind of vision that we're looking at. We're looking at an Indus Basin which can sustain a thriving civilization from its source to the delta. And that means from the north of Pakistan until the south, where it falls into the Arabian Sea. Now, these are the kind of interventions that we're looking at within this strategy. The Living Indus, it's a long-term, inspirational, ambitious strategy or program. We're looking at around 10 to 15 years. This is the set of interventions that we're looking at, but it is not limited to this. But if you look at these, you would see a lot on the subject that we're talking about today. You'd see the integration here as well. And the ones that are highlighted in green are the ones that the Ministry of Climate Change has prioritized which doesn't mean that the others are not important, but just so that the team can start work on some of the interventions. The first 8 ones have been chosen by the Ministry of Climate Change, and the Living Indus team, together with the United Nations system, other agencies, and some non-UN agencies, have started working on detailed implementation plans of these 8 interventions. These 25 interventions fall across 11 key sectors, and you would have governance there, we'd have biodiversity, pollution, agriculture, irrigation, finance, etc. The Living Indus is aligned with SDG 13, but if we are actually able to implement the Living Indus program the way it has been envisioned, we would definitely have a much greater impact, which would fall across all the key SDGs. That would mean socioeconomic and environmental progress for Pakistan. So the program started out in 2021. It was conceived in 2021. It has been approved by all the 4 cabinets. We have a 3-member core team, which is based within the Ministry of Climate Change. My colleagues Faraz and Faisal are also here. So it's been 1.5 years since its implementation, and this program aligns very well with the UN Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework Outcome 3, which is on climate and environment. So keeping that in mind, we're using the One UN approach to implement this program as well, wherein we bring in all the key agencies within the UN system to support this very ambitious program. So these are the kind of strategic areas which we're looking at in terms of implementation. So we're looking at collaborations. Of course, communities are at the heart of the work that we do. Then we have a very, we have a funding strategy that we worked on. We're looking at developing various concept notes and project proposals for the program. And of course, research and academic alliances are also very important. So the Living Indus team, together with the Resident Coordinator Office of the United Nations in Pakistan, has worked on a funding synopsis or a strategy to bring in the $17 billion that we're looking to bring in for the Living Indus over the next 10 to 15 years. So this is basically a guiding document that shows us the various sources of funding, traditional, non-traditional ones, that we could, tap into to bring in the kind of resources that we're looking for within these programs. So this includes all the big funds, the GCF, GEF, adaptation, private sector. We're also considering philanthropy as one of the sources. Then we're working with different partners on project development. We're working on a GCF, which is in pipeline, where we have the UN Environment Program has so far supported us with a few key interventions, which I'm going to talk about later. Yes, so the UNEP is supporting us with some plastics work that we're doing in Pakistan. We all know that plastics is a major problem for Pakistan. So together with UNEP, we worked on a project by the government of Japan on promoting action against plastics. And then there's another one which looks at integrated solid waste management, within which we're looking to bring in SMEs, again focusing more on plastics. Then there's a GCF that I spoke about, which is basically for the Sindh province, which looks at flood protection, wetlands, etc. And then we're also going into the water governance and policy aspects of this. We're currently doing a climate finance mapping to see what the the climate finance landscape holds across the board. So we're looking at an assessment of the climate finance domain within Pakistan. Okay. We have the Living Indus Knowledge Platform that my colleague Faraz leads, and he can talk more about it as well. But I'd encourage you all to go to www.livingindus.com, which is going to give you a detail of all those 25 interventions. It's a very interactive website. It's a one-stop shop. It shows you all the interactive GIS maps that we're using for the Indus, and it also gives the opportunity to bring in work from the other organizations who are doing similar work. So please, I would encourage all of you to look at that. And then the Living Indus has also won the World Restoration Flagship Award, which was given to it at UNIA 6 this year. It is one out of the 7 countries that has won this award. And yes, it's a matter of pride for us, but at the same time, it's a big responsibility and a commitment that we all need to live up to. And of course, a 3-member team alone cannot do that. So we're looking to collaborate as much as possible. We're looking for partnerships. We're looking to work with different like-minded organizations to save the Indus Basin, which is the most important for Pakistan. So yes, this is what we're aiming to achieve towards the end of this program. And I'm happy to take questions if there are any. And that brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you.